So I wanted to share something with you that's actually a little bit embarrassing. I have shot thousands and thousands of negatives over the years. And what ends up happening for me personally is I shoot and shoot and shoot, and I have all these negatives, and I don't have a good organizational system in place. What's happened to me is I will, in my mind, I'll be like, oh, I remember that one negative and I want to print it. I've spent hours looking for negatives just to print, and that, in my mind, looking back, is time that I could have been printing instead of searching for the negative. So I am devising a method that I feel is going to work really, really well for me to not only go through my whole catalog of negatives, but be able to find them really easily. I've always liked the idea of using digital technology to make my life easier as a film photographer and printer. And so as I scan my negatives into Lightroom, so I can literally have my entire negative, whole catalog of negatives that I've ever shot, really, once I get this done, on my phone or with me. And so if I ever have a little bit of time, I can just go through and look at some images and see if I can find something that I want to print. And then I can look in the metadata and the keywords, and that will directly show me where that negative is. I've just started doing this. Like I said, I didn't have a good system in place, and I have a backlog of negatives that I need to go through and do this with. But I'm really, really excited to hopefully get this done, and a little overwhelmed, honestly. But I wanted to share with you what I'm actually doing. So if we take this roll of film that I shot right here, I have this in a medium format folder. Then I have it labeled by the date, 2023 02/11, and Cave Point. It was 2 rolls of T-Max 400 shot at 400. And so I have the 2 rolls in the folder once they're scanned. So I have the raw files and the positives. So if you look up here at where it says keyword tags, when I scan this in, you can see that I converted this in Negative Lab Pro, but you see this little series of numbers here. It says 23M0001. So what that tells me, it's a medium format. That's what the M stands for. It was shot in 2023, and this is in the first negative sleeve of that year. These binders right here, if you look in the inside here, this is 23M001. So then if I go to the next roll of film in here, so if I go from roll 1 to roll 2, this one is labeled 23M002. And you can see I have the developer, the type of film, so I have a keyword with the camera I shot. So this is very a really good way to actually catalog your negatives. And then I have this little label maker, and I just print out a label tag sheet for these with the same label on, and then the negatives with the same label. So I will keep those in order, and then I can always find that negative sheet. So I number the images, but I don't actually put a reference to each number in the keywords. And my feeling is if I can find the sheet of negatives, I'm doing pretty good. And from there, I can find the individual negative. That's never really been a problem. But what this allows me to do, if I can find my phone, take these images now, and I just rename, well, you can name it to whatever you want. But so you can see I have a medium format, a 35 millimeter, and then a large format. And as you can see, I don't have a ton done. Like I said, this has been a bit overwhelming, and I do have a lot of negatives to do this to. But what's cool is it will let me revisit a lot of negatives as I go through, because some I shot so long ago I didn't scan them. I just have a contact sheet and they're in there. So I'm really excited. Like I said, I'm overwhelmed, but really excited to go through all my negatives and look at them a little bit closer. So this is the folder where they're at, and I happen to have them on a big NAS drive, but you could have these on multiple drives. And the cool thing about Lightroom is they don't really need to even be, the original files don't need to be connected as long as you have smart previews. But then if you come down here and you make a collection, this little thing, it's synced to the cloud. So all my negatives eventually will be right on my phone. So if I open up Lightroom here, so you can see I have all the ones that I've done. And if I go to Cave Point Park, here will be the 24 images. And there's that negative. And then what I can do from here is if I go to keywords, it will have that 23M002. So I can find this in that binder relatively quickly. I'm pretty pumped on this because, like I said, I can have all my negatives right in on my phone, and I can obsess over my phone some more, or I can be buried in my phone more, and you know, I can be looking at my images and going, oh, I would really like to print that, and then I can go and find it. So I'm really curious as to what systems you have in place and what you've used to keep yourself organized in this regard. Like, I'm really pumped about using Lightroom for this. I really haven't seen anybody else doing it this way or using the keyword, like the powerful function of the keyword tags in Lightroom and then syncing them in the cloud so that you can kind of have access to them. And hopefully some of you find that interesting and would like to do something like that. But anyway, I'm going to get back to trying to get caught up on archiving all of my negatives and organize. Peace.